Hey guys, this is Editor Matt. Sorry for the interruption, but I wanted to let you know there was an issue with Casey's mic and he sounds a little bit distorted. I did what I could with it, so if you're wondering, no, it's not your speakers or your headphones. It was an issue on our end. Okay, back to the podcast.
What's up, hobby friends, and welcome to Paint Bravely, the podcast where you can find a little bit of encouragement, discover new ways to make your hobby more fun, and most importantly, learn to paint bravely. Now, today we have a pretty fun topic. It's how to expand on your hobby skills, or what kind of hobby skills you have that translate into other things. But before we get to that, I want to find out what Brent's been up to. So, yeah, what's been going on there, guy?
Hey Casey, thanks for the intro. We got an important news update today. I just learned this week. The Dollar Tree is the last major dollar store chain to abandon the whole concept of selling everything for $1.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, we just addressed this a few episodes ago, and I went into a Dollar Tree recently, and the links that they have to go to unethically source any item that they can sell for the price of $1 these days. It results in a very interesting collection of stuff in that store.
It does, yeah.
Which is interesting for crafters, you know?
I mean, it's nice. There's a lot of random crap in a dollar store. I mean, I guess it does bring...
Exactly, that's the way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it is just random crap to the point where it is surprising and delightful to walk through some of those aisles.
You know what? I actually have a good dollar store story that I used today, in fact, in my hobby. So about 6 months ago, I went into my Dollar Tree. Everything is $1 in there. And I bought wooden blocks. And they're very tiny little, cube, kind of like dice, like your average dice size. And I finally used some today. So I feel pretty good about that. Like, I found the weirdness and I bought it and I put it in my hobby drawer and I was just waiting. I was sitting on it. I was like, you know what? I'm painting some space lizards. There needs to be some cubes on this base just to make it look cool. So I did. I used cubes on my base.
Well, the time finally came. Now, see, my understanding is that Dollar Tree is going to go the way of Dollar General and Dollar whatever else. And it's just going to be, stuff sold for $3. And at the $3 price point, you can get actual products in the store. You don't have to go to such strange off-brand wooden cubes. Yeah.
Get some on-brand wooden cubes.
Yeah. Nobody's going to be saying what can we possibly sell for $1? Like, I don't know, I got some wood offcuts that I can put in a bag.
For real. Just a bunch of offcuts, yeah. That's useful.
So, it's going to be a whole new world next year. Dollar Tree is going to be a little bit different, but we're going to be a little bit different too. Maybe I'll save up a couple extra dollars and, go to a real store because the janky cheapness that was the Dollar Tree, it's in the past. It's in the past.
A little bit. I mean, if they're like the Dollar Tree does have its kind of own stuff, I don't know. Like they still have LA's Totally Awesome. So that's fine. Like I'll probably still go there to pick stuff up. I mean, they still sell Hot Wheels for $1, and that's a thing. Like most other stores sell it for $1.25. So I guess they're catching up on that, though. That's the point.
You've been thinking about Hot Wheels a lot lately, haven't you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Do it.
Yeah, I've been. I guess I should. So I've been thinking about starting a Hot Wheels YouTube channel for quite a while now, and I finally took the plunge and spent some money on getting the stuff that I need to do that, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's gonna be a little bit of hobby in there, but it's gonna be a lot of like downhill Hot Wheels racing action. Mostly just to do as kind of a family thing, but that, with the skills that I've learned in this hobby that can transfer over. See what I did there? I can do something fun and kind of keep I don't know, just make fun videos for the family, I guess, and also try and take a piece of that Hot Wheels pie on the YouTubes.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm pretty excited about that, though. That's going to be good.
I am very curious to see what you come up with. I know you've done at least one video on your channel where you and the family were working on some Hot Wheels.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you start marketing that to the Hot Wheels fanatics, and you've got, you know, who knows how far you'll go.
I know. I mean, there's a weird amount of possibilities in the space. It's hard to put into words, I guess. Most of the good Hot Wheels channels explicitly say, like, this is not for children. But it, like, absolutely is. It's just grown adult children playing with toy cars. And it is fascinating on a lot of different levels. And especially the seriousness of the downhill racing. Like, there are specific types of tracks. You got, controlled starts with ramps that fold down for all the cars to start. I actually bought a finish line timer. So the first one through gets a time. That'll be a lap time, fastest lap, whatever. So it's a whole thing. Like, it goes deep. A lot deeper than I thought it did.
Well, we'll be able to sit back from afar and watch you and see how deep you guys get into it.
It should be pretty fun. I'm excited.
And, worst case, when you give up on it and throw it all in the corner, you'll still have those Hot Wheels cars that you can use for gas lands. That's the important thing.
That is the idea, yes. It's all just a secret ploy to amass a large Gaslands collection.
I'm on to you. We're on to you.
I mean, I haven't played Gaslands still. I have the book. I have the dice. I still don't have, like, the movement tracker thingies, but I think you can just print those out somewhere. But, I got all the stuff. We built cars. They're sweet. Some played.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe someday. Yeah, just another tabletop game that I own everything for that I haven't done anything with.
I understand. Chuck it in the pile. Don't let them kind of roll out of the pile. Those ones, you need to immobilize somehow. You need to put tiny little boots on your tiny little cars so they don't go rolling out of your pile. But
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. You've got a new side project coming up. That's awesome. I've got a little side project myself. I've decided that I'm going to learn how to self-promote and advertise and network. So I'm going to use this podcast that I'm on to actually advertise for one of the podcasts I'm on. The 20-Sided Realms Waterdeep season. It's out. It's out by the time this episode's out. There's going to be 2 episodes of that out. So you can go and catch up with the gang at the Loaf and Kettle Tavern and see what they're all up to. That's the 20-Sided Realms podcast.
So
available
far,
wherever you're listening to this, unless you're listening to this on YouTube, in which case, give it some time. But
yeah, that's soon though, right?
It's coming.
Yeah. Okay, good. Because, I mean, we generally direct traffic, from this podcast to go to youtube.com/paintbravely the podcast to leave a comment about the episode so we can have a good discussion about it. But you don't have that yet, but soon. That's good. I'm looking forward to that. The first episode was pretty funny. I liked it.
It was. So I got to call out in particular, Travis and Blake in particular are very good storytellers and funny and natural. And the other 3 of us, we're decent, we're good, we're solid. Sometimes, most of the time.
You're not carrying it though, like they are.
There's a couple of real stars on that show.
Definitely.
And luckily, one of them is the DM. So
that's pretty important. I think
it is pretty entertaining it's fun to play and it's fun to listen to too. So
and so I'm definitely looking forward to more of that.
Nice. So
I guess it'll be out by the time this is out, huh? The second episode. Brent snapping at his cats to shut it. Don't worry about the cats, Brent.
Well, one of them was scratching,
Oh, yeah.
I was about to talk, and so that was going to pick up on the audio, and we're good now. I'm going to stop snapping. Going to stop. Yep.
It's all right.
Moving right along here.
Yeah.
What I was saying is to make that YouTube version of the 20-Sided Realms podcast, I am painting up some Hero Forge figures, and I've gotten to the point where I think they do actually have souls. So kind of.
It's 4 episodes later. It's the end of an era. The answer is they have souls.
The answer is yes. The answer is yes. But the individual components that you put into the Hero Forge minis, there's some character in there, and then if you pose them in a way that's kind of funny or to your liking, it all works out. And in addition, I think the bigger takeaway here is that the act of painting something for yourself, it makes it yours. It adds some meaning to it, and the physical mini is less important than the time you put in painting.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that goes for most models. Like, you can have a really cool looking sculpt and everything, but it is the time that you put in. Because even if you do like a kind of bad job painting, like, you still feel something for that model. Even the first models I ever painted, like, they're pretty derpy, but I'm not going to strip them and repaint them. Like, I spend time on those models. They mean something to me, even though they look like they do. So, yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Like, you're putting the soul into that model. That's good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, so far I've made the 4 player characters in a couple of different poses each. And, I mean, they're all pretty derpy and silly, but a couple of them I actually really like. A couple of... Ed's character, especially Kavan, the big barbarian, is just a super muscular, stupid-looking guy, receding hairline, giant sword, stupid look on his face. Amazing. That little fella has soul, and I love it. So
yeah,
that's moving along nicely. We'll check in a couple more episodes here. I'll let you know how that's going.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are going to be some things that I'll probably want to mention from time to time. Of course, I'll be keeping up on that show, so I think it'll be appropriate to bring things up and make fun of you. So, yeah,
wonderful. I appreciate that.
Good. Actually, I'm 2 games in on my D&D group right now. Which is
that's a good start.
Yeah, we've matched the record for all-time D&D games that I've played in a row, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. Like,
has anyone dropped the group yet or anything?
No. The only thing, because it is a group of like dads, essentially, just everybody that has work to do. Like, it's been a little bit difficult, like, timing-wise, to when we start. So it's been like, oh, man, like, this thing happened. I got to take another 45 minutes. I'll be there eventually. So, like, last time we were playing, one of the guys was out, and he was on his way. It's like driving to his house, But in the game, we were climbing up this staircase near the ocean looking for this lighthouse, and these harpies came along and threw him off the side of the cliff, basically, and he was just bleeding out. And he ended up dying, and so he showed up and he was just dead. So we lost a character.
Already?
Like this, I know. Yeah, it wasn't good. It was a bad time. So yeah.
Well, I mean, level 1 characters are very squishy, so
oh yeah,
that's the time most deaths happen, I think.
Well, and he already had rolled another character and role played it excellently into the story, and it worked out great. But it was pretty funny. So that's where we're at, though. It's like we'll probably get together, but it'll be in kind of chunks, I guess. We'll see how it goes. I mean, if we make it to a 3rd game, I got pretty high hopes. So
yeah,
we'll
that's
see.
a real good start.
Yeah,
man, I haven't followed up on my quest to see all of the movies that are about D&D groups.
Right, yeah. It's been a while since we talked about that. I haven't even started.
Oh, you haven't started? I think
No,
I actually
forgot.
made it pretty far through like what's actually available out there. I think I made a pretty good dent in what's out there. Some really good independent films anyway. But yeah,
right.
I do enjoy the social dynamic of trying to make a group work and the stupid things that lead to it not working. And like you said, normally it's just like scheduling conflicts that kill a group, but
oh yeah,
I do enjoy a good
time.
like breakup within the group, and then like one of the characters needs to leave, and
yeah. I mean, you never know. Like, I still don't know everybody in the group, and I don't think everybody knows everybody. In fact, I think there's only a couple people that know each other, which is really strange. Like, I actually haven't met any of them, and not even like in person, but like online. I've never actually talked to any of them about anything other than us playing D&D. So I don't even know who these people are outside of their role playing, which is really strange.
Are they in your area? Are they somewhat
yeah,
local?
they are actually.
Okay.
Most of them are. Like within an hour and a half. So I assume we'll probably eventually meet up, but it's strange to not have, like, it's not like we've even talked, oh, what do you do? What do you do for a living? Or none of that. There's been no small talk. It was like I jumped in and the game was already going, and that's how it's been every time. So I literally do not know anybody other than who they are in this game.
This is fun. I like this.
Yeah. It's very interesting so far, because I'm like,
ooh,
I don't particularly like this person, but then I don't know them. Like, I don't. So it's like they're playing a character and they're playing it very specifically, and I'm like, I don't know about you. I don't know, but I can't imagine.
How'd you find this group? Was this like on Craigslist or what?
No, it sounds like it, but no, it's a YouTube friend of mine asked me if I wanted to join, and there's another dude who's like gaming YouTube, and then his friend who's the DM, and it's just like a bunch of YouTube guys that like know each other, or one person knows another person kind of thing.
Close enough.
Yeah, so it's very strange.
All right.
So I guess I'll try and keep up with. We both have D&D news. I like that. That's nice. So I think we'd probably do a little updates here and there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm continuing to explore this ecosystem as it relates to minis. So I've got a stupid little quest going of trying to collect all the Drizzt Erdens that have been made by different companies.
Sure.
And I might actually be pretty close to all of the unpainted, licensed Drizzt Erdens, at least to the ones that are currently in production. I've got one from Nolzur's Marvelous Minis. I've got one from Frameworks, which actually isn't even named Drizzt, but it is Drizzt. And I have one from Gale Force 9. So in the last couple of weeks, I ordered a box set from Gale Force 9. And this is actually my first product that I've gotten from Gale Force 9. And I was surprised that it was actually polystyrene. It was... Oh, okay. It was a hard plastic Drizzt model. And I mean, we've been over this. You all know who Drizzt Erden is. But just so no one can like claim ignorance, this is a dark elf ranger who wields the twin scimitars. They're actually different. Who wields two scimitars, Twinkle and Icing Death. Yeah,
that's right. Which is the okay.
It is dumb, just all the way down. The entire backstory.
Okay. Thank you for letting
adventures, armaments, magic items. He has an astral plane panther, Guinevere, that helps him out. No, that can't be right. I know I'm pronouncing Drizzt better than I'm pronouncing Guinevere, but yeah.
I mean, that sounds fine. It sounds like a name. The more I learn about D&D, like, the more I absolutely hate it. Like, for real. I don't know what it is.
Forgotten Realms, you mean? Or
they were meant to be forgotten. I don't know. Like I've always enjoyed myself doing D&D adjacent things, and kind of, I guess, skirting the edge of that whole universe. But the more that I jump in, like, it pisses me off. Like, because of things like that, I guess. what are the name of his swords? Twinkle and Icing Death? What is that?
I actually don't know the history of his two swords.
Okay, also, most people, okay, maybe not most people, but I know there's a good percentage of people who don't even know who Drizzt is. Once again, I will happily point you to the comment section to ask Brent what the hell he's talking about if you don't know who that is, because he did this last time, and a lot of people, Brent, like
again,
a good chunk of comments.
There's a lot of liars out there in that comment section. You all know who Drizzt is.
I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Famous dark elf ranger who came to the surface after escaping the dark elf city in the underdark of Menzoberranzan, and he got out of there. Yeah, he was a high-ranking drow in one of the dark elf families, but he got out, and they made a bunch of friends on the surface, and now he's very honorable. And R.A. Salvatore writes books about him just killing just thousands of orcs.
That's true. He's killed a lot of people. Yeah, with that. But
it's mostly to help out his friends that he met in Icewind Dale. Okay, this isn't important.
No,
this is
none of it is. Like, that's my point. It's not important.
All of you know everything that I'm saying right now, but it's not important. Like,
the fact is that Gale Force 9 made a polystyrene mini of this said Twinkle Star. I got you.
Yeah, getting back to the important thing here. This is probably the best known character from the D&D universes. I actually was flipping through the 5th edition player's handbook, and for Elf, the first picture is Drizzt. So, actually earlier today, I was getting some nice pictures with my nice camera of that for use in a video one of these days. Like,
there you go.
See, you all know who this is. You all know who this is.
I'd love for you to make a video. It's just not explaining it whatsoever and just saying, you know who this is. I don't have to say a thing. And just see what happens. Like, that's the title of your video. It's all Drizzt models lined up, and you're like, you know who this is. And it's just a picture of him in your thumbnail.
The silent majority absolutely knows who Drizzt is.
That's true.
The extremely loud minority of liars is going to say that they don't know.
Is that how that works? Just straight up liars.
This is a well-known character in the D&D worlds, and so I was kind of going on a little mission to see how many figurines I can get of this character. Yes. And I'm up to 3 so far. And that 2 in polystyrene. So popular,
yeah.
Yeah, 2 in hard plastic, 1 in bendy plastic. I think if I'm willing to kind of go outside the officially licensed Drizzt and just go for dark elf warrior, dark elf, whatever, dual swordsman.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll get something like it. Yeah, I'm sure Thingiverse is just full.
Yeah. But I actually was surprised to see Gale Force 9 was in plastic. So it's a company that's kind of been on like the periphery of me having heard of before. And I thought that most of their D&D minis were in resin. I think a lot of them are, but apparently they have hard plastic kits too. And there was no customization or anything in there, but it was kind of cool to see a plastic set.
Yeah, I mean, that's nice, especially when it's like a decent set, right? Like, we just don't seem to get those. It's either bendy plastic or, resin, I guess.
Yeah, so, hard plastic to me is the pinnacle material that we can work with. And, printer resin's not bad, casting resin's not bad, metal is okay depending, bendy plastic, I mean...
bendy plastic.
I actually haven't spent enough time with it, but I think I don't really like it.
No, you don't need to. It's exactly what you think it is.
Okay.
Like, as soon as you paint that bendy sword and you accidentally bendy it, there goes your paint. Like, it doesn't matter.
That's kind of what I thought.
It's
that's kind of what I thought. Yeah.
Which it bothers me that there are some games out there that use that stuff, like, exclusively. And the models are still super expensive. I mean, and then nobody's asking you like to paint them or anything, but they don't look very good, and they're all bendy and dumb. So
yeah. So as part of my little quest here, I do want to try painting Drizzt in a variety of different plastics to actually form some real opinions about trying to paint, Nulzers, and maybe I'll get around to Bones. We'll see. I don't think Bones has that official Drizzt, but I'm sure they have Dark Elf Ranger somewhere in there. And you know why they have a nameless Dark Elf Ranger? Because Drizzt is an important character that everybody knows. And
yeah, exactly. Everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
So of course they're gonna have that. I mean, other than being like, I guess, an appealing D&D character to be.
And indeed, the archetypical D&D character, the D&D character that most people have played.
Human.
If you were to do the stats and total it all up, would be a totally not Drizzt Dark Elf.
Okay. I mean,
it's in the top 5. It's in the top 5. You think
so? I really want to look this up now. Like, I really do.
I don't know how you could possibly aggregate this information.
No, I mean, you could, because D&D Beyond is used for a lot of character creation now. So even if say the last 2 or 3 years of D&D Beyond was all you had, that's probably a fair amount of character creation. I know I just created a character through there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for the past 20 years, it's been a cliche that people have occasionally tried to avoid, Anyway, yeah. moving on here. I just wanted to say I was impressed that Gale Force 9 had a plastic kit in there, a hard plastic kit. And just for fun, I tried to make a list of the companies I know that actually do make hard plastic. I came up with, Games Workshop and Warhammer, Weird and Malifaux, Warlord, Mantic, WizKids with Frameworks, Kingdom Death has some, Gale Force 9 apparently, Archon Studios with the Dungeons and Lasers and the Ramparts terrain. They have a few models as well, like minis. That's the list I came up with. I'm curious if anyone has some more that are, hard plastic polystyrene. Because that does take a little more startup cost. You need a higher print run for that to be worthwhile, apparently.
Yeah. The newer Infinity models are multi-part plastic kits.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah, they look great too. I mean, even their pewter wasn't terrible, but they're doing the polystyrene.
That is good to know. Very good to know. Yeah.
That's one of those games I'd like to play at some point. I heard it was pretty fun.
Yeah. And of course, on top of all of this, Revel and Tamiya and those those actual model car and model battleship companies have been just making polystyrene models for, I don't know, 50 years.
Yeah, I know,
for
right?
A long time.
You gotta wonder, though, if they can do it and sell those kits for I mean, I've seen them go for pretty cheap. Why can't these other companies? Is it maybe these other ones have just been around so long? Because I don't know. I just never see people buying these kits.
So I think they do have a more general audience, and that is, every 10-year-old, essentially.
Sure.
8-year-old, I don't know.
Whichever.
But also, I've been to the hobby store and looked at the models that they have, and I'm pretty sure that the model they have for an Apache attack helicopter is the same one that I had 25 years ago. So I think they get a lot of use out of those molds.
It's a good point, actually. They've just been reusing the molds. They're getting a little soft these days. The corners are kind of sanded down.
I think they've changed the box design a few times where I'm looking at it and I'm pretty sure that's the same Apache helicopter I had. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think I had a couple. A couple of kits.
But yeah, that's one of those things where we're in the hobby, we think of polystyrene models as being like the pinnacle, and you need to have, a lot of people really interested in that model line to be able to pull that off. And there's just a few companies within our hobby that are doing stuff in hard plastic. Luckily, that is expanding, and I'm excited about that. But yeah, then you remember that over to the Michaels, you go down the line, and there's just plenty of nasty old model car kits.
I mean, they are super thin, though. They are flimsy. Like I bought that Tiny Toons, Toon, some kind of tank. Yeah, I built that thing pretty quick, and it was super flimsy. Just like all the pieces seem very small, and like you are gonna break something while you're putting it together. So there's definitely a difference. That's right. Yeah, that's what it is. World War Toons. Yeah, but there's a difference between the hard plastic, thick, bulky pieces and like this very thin material. Yeah. They're probably cutting costs, is my point.
Oh yeah. So what else is new with you?
Space lizards.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Tell us about your space lizards.
So I picked up Games Workshop Seraphon Carnosaur, which is one of the bigger dinosaurs. And I painted it up, and I'm excited. I'm excited about my dinosaur.
Was that an eBay snag?
Pretty nice. Yeah. So the box for one of these goes for like $115. That's just by itself. I know, it's just incredible.
Well, it's part of like an old Start Collecting box that was selling for 80 or whatever, 75, 80. Yeah. And
that's the thing. I don't even think they make that specific box anymore. I haven't checked, but obviously that's how you would want to buy it. Yeah, if you were going to do it, you'd do it that way. So I picked the model up for $40, but I do know that the individual model is $115 on their website. So, yeah.
That is infuriating. That is absolutely infuriating. Yeah.
I mean, especially because I wouldn't consider this in that realm. There are plenty of models. Kit. Yeah. It doesn't look like it, but it is.
It's a decent kit, but it's
it was in the old world. It's 7 or 8.
2007. I want to say 2007. I could be wrong. That's just coming to my mind though. 2009. Doesn't matter. It's a little bit of an older kit.
Yeah, it's pre-2015. I know that.
Oh, for sure.
Because it comes, or it used to come with a square base. So yeah,
Did your eBay purchase come with a square base?
No, actually, it came with an oval. So it's newer.
Okay. And how much did you get it for on eBay? How'd that?
$40. $40.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, in comparison, it's like that's fine. Surprisingly, it was put together well. But I've only ever painted one other lizard man. That was it, Star Priest or something, and that was pretty fun
with the feathers.
Yeah, lots of feathers, and I used the little plant matter, the lichen that you get from Michaels and wherever. Shoot paint through that to get kind of animal effects, and then I filled that in with color, and that's how I got that cool pattern all over him. I didn't do that this time. I went a little more simple. But it's a much bigger model this time around. But I like painting dinosaurs. It's kind of nice.
Dinosaurs are awesome.
I know.
Yeah.
They really are. But I don't know, it was last week I did a whole video about painting Stormcast. Talking about how the old models are kind of difficult to paint. And it's not that they're really that difficult, but they kind of look like crap. Even if you're just okay or just try a little bit, they still just don't look very good. And Brent playing with dinosaurs. But the newer ones do. And there were various reasons for that. But I'm looking at these dinosaurs and they just paint up really nicely and easily and have a lot of good detail. And I think that's really what it is. It's the sculpt, even though it's old, it's really distracting. So distracting. Brent playing with that dinosaur in my face. I can't even think. The actual details on these models, because they're deep cut like scales, makes it really easy to paint. Just throw a bunch of color and you put a wash on it, and it looks great. And like, I don't know, I'm just excited about painting a dinosaur, and I kind of want to paint more dinosaurs. But then I'm thinking, like, do I want to start another new army? I don't know. So I'm probably going to sell this one on eBay.
Conquest? Because Conquest has a line of orcs that apparently ride dinosaurs.
I think I've seen this, yes. I've seen, and that's supposed to be a fun game too. That's another like on the list game to try and play. Because they have some sweet plastic models, by the way. Those are also plastic kits. I didn't have this on my list. You did not have it on your list, yeah.
I did not have this on my list. I literally had a plastic Conquest dinosaur like next to my leg. And hold on, we'll put Conquest on the list of hard
the list that
dinosaurs.
No one will see ever again. We write these lists and make these outlines for this podcast, and then we literally never look at them again. So him writing it down is very funny. I find very funny.
Never forget.
Never forget. Like somebody, I think I told you this a while back. Somebody had sent in some dinosaurs, toy dinosaurs, and did green stuff and used a bunch of Lizardman parts on them to like make a thing. And I still have all these models, and I haven't really known what to do with them. And this is one of those weirdo kind of things that it would make for a fun video, but I don't know how I feel about painting up toys and trying to go, yes, these are, Lizardmen models, right? Like, I don't know. I have an issue with that, I guess.
Hey,
like 12-year-old me probably
that would be a fun try-hard video, yeah. Go full try-hard on some toy dinosaurs, and I bet you can make it look pretty sweet.
I mean, the detail's not bad on these toys that I have.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll probably try and get some better pictures for the YouTube, because I know Brent can't see this, and I'm trying to show the camera.
I've seen them before, but I know you have toys that are actually reasonably well converted with some extra bits and stuff, and
lots of green stuff, lots of bits, just pieces in general all over the place. And then there's like an entire line of like infantry kind of done in the same way. So I don't know. It's interesting what you can do. But dinosaurs are fun to paint. So it's just been kind of on my mind, this whole week. Yeah. But Conquest dinosaurs, I'll have to check. I mean, orcs already, you got me there. But then orcs riding dinosaurs. Okay.
Yeah. I don't have my orc attached, but there's like a little mini howdah on this T-Rex, this feathered T-Rex from Conquest from Parabellum games, and there's an orc that's kind of standing on a howdah, and he has a spear that is long enough to work while riding a T-Rex. So it is the longest spear that I've seen for any game. It's like
That's
3 times the height of the actual orc, which makes sense.
That's how it would have to be, right? It's not a 2 foot.
Got this sweet overhand grip on this giant spear.
That sounds
and the spear
amazing.
It's pretty good. So I think I might actually put this on a future Goobertown roulette, or actually all future Goobertown roulettes until it gets drawn. I think that might have to be the case.
Thinking about the Goobertown roulette for a minute, you should probably have something like that, like most ridiculous models that you've seen, right? And you just have them, like the Mumakil for Lord of the Rings. That's what it's called, the big elephant, right? Like that's an insane model, and there's like 16 models in that box. But this orc riding a T-Rex sounds like right there with that kind of like hugest, biggest spear in the game,
Yeah.
But you should definitely have a standalone roulette of just stupid models. It's the dumbest crap that you'll probably never paint other than this way.
Right. right? Or it's a really good excuse to be like, well, I guess I gotta paint it now. Yeah.
Exactly, because otherwise it just sits in a box, and you're like, I don't know where to start or what to do. It's huge, and that's usually because that stops a lot of people, right, from painting. Is just seeing the vast amount of work that you're gonna have to do. It's like I don't want to do that. But if you make yourself,
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe someday. All right, we're gonna keep moving along here. What else has been new? The Expanse book 9 came out. I cranked through that. I am aware that the both of the authors of the Expanse books are active on Twitter, and so you know what I did? I was like, okay,
yeah, you tweeted them. Yeah.
Now is my chance to express my love of this series, and it's book 9 of 9. So the Expanse book series is now done. It wrapped up very nicely. I'm like, okay, now's my time to get a tiny hint of online acknowledgement from the writers of this excellent book series.
Sure.
So I just do a tweet like, hey, reading this. Congratulations to the authors. Wonderful series, highly recommended. And not getting much interaction. Like, okay, I shot my shot. I took the chance. I tried to reach out with a little bit of bait and get that tiny little bit of acknowledgement and
right. You got nothing.
Validation and then what happens is I'm going to call him a rando. Is just a person who's not directly connected to this situation, but somebody on the internet.
A Drizzt Stewart, if you will. Yeah.
Yeah. We got this Drizzt comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And just says like, hey, I'm listening to this on audiobook 2, and hey, I don't know. Can you tell me, is this character from book 9 the same person as this character from book 7? And that comment gets Daniel Abraham to respond to my tweet, not to my tweet, but to this yours. Question. Like, hey, is this character with the same name in book 7 the same character with that name in book 9? And Daniel Abraham replies, "Yup." Well, no acknowledgement of my tweet, but
zero
to a sub question.
That's insane. That's like a deep, like, I mean, come on, right? You had to like go, okay. Oh, I can answer this.
So close.
So he read yours and then ignored it completely. That's fine. I see how it is.
I mean, to be fair, I actually didn't make that connection that the side character from book 7 was a relatively important character in book 9, but that's okay. That's all right. Anyway, in other news, so I like to bring up these nerd series because there will be minis of the Expanse someday. I don't think there's any. There's definitely some on like Thingiverse, the like ships, the spaceships. There's definitely fan-made spaceships on Thingiverse.
Yes.
But there'll be more games and stuff coming along, I bet.
I wouldn't be surprised, like a board game with models or something.
Yeah.
That'd be all right.
And then also the Wheel of Time series dropped, or the first 2 episodes dropped.
It did. Haven't watched it.
You watched that yet?
No, not yet. I've heard it's really good, but I have no idea.
It's decent. It's decent.
Okay.
But in terms of minis, I think there's going to be the colored Ajas for the, what are they called? The witches, the magic users, the Aes Sedai. Yeah. Okay, you haven't read it either yet. Okay.
No, I read the first one when I was, I don't know, in 6th grade or something. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
And I can't even remember. I literally can't remember anything, but I remember the cover. Like, that's about it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, in that world, the magic users are like color coded.
Sure.
There's schools of magic, and they're color coded.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's just gonna be like lady wizards, the Aes Sedai in blue and green and red, and I like color coded things, so so that's going to be good.
Yeah, I mean any kind of like anything like that they're turning into a show, like I'm all for, because we need more of that. Yeah, we just I don't know.
I'm just there were definitely of course there were what am I trying to say, George R. R. Martin, Song of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones. There were definitely Game of Thrones minis from a couple of different places, I think.
Oh, they're all over the place.
There's a big game about it. Yeah.
There's an entire game. Yes, a very large tabletop game.
No, I am aware of that. Hey, come on, stop it. But I was trying to think. I think there's actually a couple of sources of minis for that.
Dark Sword Miniatures holds the license from the books to make pewter minis that are actually pretty cool. Okay. Yeah, they're not bad.
But anyway, anytime there's a big property like this, I like to start thinking about whether there's going to be minis and whether they'll be fun. And the
or whether it'll get canceled.
Wheel of Time is going to have color-coded wizards, so that's going to be good. Color-coded sorcerers, that sounds amazing to me.
Sounds like a good skirmish game.
It could be
pretty easy enough, yeah.
Actually, that'd be pretty good. Mm-hmm. And also that world doesn't have orcs. That world has Trollocs. So in some ways, like book 1 starts out with totally not just the human version of the Shire, gets invaded by totally not just a Wraith Knight and totally not just orcs. So
that seems fine.
Or Ring Wraith.
Well, I mean, when was that book written though? Like not that long after, right?
I want to say like late 80s.
Really? Okay.
I want to put it at like 89 or something like that. I could be wrong, but
that's relatively new. I don't know. Newer than I thought.
I mean, there were just decades of books after Lord of the Rings where all fantasy was shockingly close to just
including Games Workshop.
Yeah. And I remember when I was in, I think I might actually been in college when I first picked up Wheel of Time, but I remember getting to the and then Trollocs burst into the village. Like, what's a Trolloc? Sounds like an orc. And he's like, these totally not orcs. And so he actually goes to a little bit of effort to be like, they're furry and have the face of, animals like boars or goats or something. And like, okay, I guess it's not just one-to-one orcs. So that's good.
Boar people.
But where I'm going with this is that in the new show, they were actually pretty cool. So I might be interested in painting some of those. Yeah. So the costume design or CGI design or whatever it was for the Trollocs was actually pretty sweet in the show. So I'm curious to see if those get adapted to minis one of these days.
I mean, if they're cool enough and if the show sticks around, then I mean, sure. That's the thing, right? It's the longevity of all these things, because there's too many shows, especially now, that are like, I mean, even including things like The Expanse, right? The Expanse was on for like 3-4 seasons, and it was getting better every single episode, and then there's like, it's canceled. Just canceling it. We only get 9 million people concurrently watching instead of 12. We needed 12. It's fine.
It's getting its full season 6. Which,
I know.
Read the books. It actually makes sense. Like stopping after 6 seasons actually makes a fair bit of sense based on.
That's not even the problem. That's not even the problem I'm talking about. No, it was canceled after like season 2 from Sci-Fi, and then picked up on Amazon Prime. Right.
Okay.
So it's like what was a relatively successful show, right? And so it's like the Netflix problem. It's like, well, this show wasn't a huge banger hit for us. It's not getting 20 million concurrent viewers on, or like, I forget what their number was. Some stupid thing like that. It was like 20 million in the first week or something like that. And if it doesn't hit that, it's just straight up canceled. It's like, okay, but 19 million people really like that.
Had that problem of like, getting 2 seasons of something or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like Altered Carbon canceled after 2 seasons. And,
that bothers me so much.
That's a whole other topic. But
There are 3 books, you dicks. Come on.
There's an excuse to totally recast it with cheaper actors every season. Well, like, what's the problem? Yeah.
I know, right? They could have, and I mean, they started off kind of like middle of the road. Like I like the guy that got the first one.
Joel Kinnaman.
Yeah, like I like that guy. But like, I don't know, that he's not like an A-list guy all the time. I felt like they had it right in where it needed to be. But whatever, fine. You want to cancel it, and it was because it was like, oh well, we got 10 million. You know, the first whatever season, and the second season, sorry guys, like got 9.5, so you just didn't cut it, and they just, anyways, I don't mean to bring that up.
I know. I think the Wheel of Time, because it was so popular for however many books came out, I think it would be deserving of miniatures game. Maybe there probably are pewter Wheel of Time minis out there somewhere. I don't know.
I mean, I like Willow, and that wasn't very popular, but that's getting a reboot on Disney Plus, and it has 2 board game.
Okay. Okay.
They're paper cards instead of so.
Someone shared in the Discord server the Queen's Gambit board game for the Queen's Gambit. Which is that
not chess
show on Netflix?
Yeah, is it not just chess?
It's like a 4-player game with cards.
No,
it's like a chessboard with tokens and 4 players, and there's cards. And
it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Are you serious? That's somebody who's trolling you. There's no way that's real. There's no way that's real. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard of.
I'm happy with my understanding of it in my brain. I don't want to look further into this
that's
situation.
That's the truth, and I just don't want to live in this anymore. Okay. Oh, man. That's not okay. That's not okay. That's got to be on a list somewhere. Things that just shouldn't exist.
Well, you know, in that game design studio, just every person who was learning that they were making this game just looked at each other and said, seriously? And then somebody started laughing and said, let's do it.
It's not just, I mean, because I think you're missing something when you don't just package it as the Queen's Gambit, and it is literally just chess.
That would be incredible.
That's how you do it.
I don't think anyone owns the right to chess, do they? It's just whoever can come up with the best box for a chess set, right? Like,
I suppose so, because I mean, chess in itself is just a super old game, right? So
been around for hundreds or thousands of whatever. Like, it's been around forever.
I mean, some of the first like Marvel models that came out were for chess games.
If they pay Netflix a few bucks to just get a picture of that actress and call it the Queen's Gambit.
That's what I'm saying. Like, to troll the entire world of just chess.
Crappy plastic chess pieces.
Not even good. They're just the garbage ones like that everybody's had.
Incredible.
The ones you had in elementary school. Yeah. Oh, man. That's right. I'd hate to be that studio. That's for sure.
Right.
Because that would have been my first response.
To wrap up this little segment, if anyone sees some really good minis for the Expanse or for Wheel of Time, let us know, because this is on our hobby radar, and we're not sure if it exists yet, but it's on our hobby radar. That's what I'm saying.
Yes. That brings us to our main topic, I suppose. Really don't have anything else to say. So why don't we get into it? Other things you can do with your hobby skills, Brent.
Okay.
I know you got some.
We've talked a little bit before about how all of us as unique individuals with our own backstories and origin stories, we all bring unique skill sets to this hobby. But once we're in this hobby and we're sitting down and we're painting minis, even though we're all, separate and apart, we're doing a lot of the same things. And we're building a lot of the same skills together. And then when we go back out into the world, we take those skills with us.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is you're building some skills there at your hobby desk that are actually useful in other aspects of life. Sometimes, maybe. So we wanted to talk about those a little bit.
I like that.
Little extra excuses for why that time spent at your hobby desk is so worthwhile.
Yeah. I suppose.
What you got, Casey?
Well, I'm trying to think. Like an easy one, like a good easy one is colors. Like just having a general knowledge of color and what mixes with what and how things are made can give you a little bit of a boost in life. Like say you're at an art gallery, for example. Like my city has an art museum. It's pretty nice, pretty big. You can go there from time to time. But I feel like knowing a little bit about color and painting does help me appreciate art a little bit better. Yeah. I know how to express things or see an artist's choice in a painting where I didn't necessarily before. So I think that's pretty cool. It's a
backdoor into art appreciation.
Yeah.
I think that's true.
Yeah. Terrible college course, by the way. If you ever have to take that, it's not fun.
I missed out on that one.
Did you?
But on the topic of mixing colors, I mean, there are times when you're gonna chip your car, you're gonna chip your van.
That's very true.
You're gonna chip your nice painted dresser or table or something.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, there's this used to look sweet, but now there's a big chip in it. And the party van just isn't as sweet as it was yesterday before I dropped this, thing on it. And but you know what you can do if you have a bunch of paints around and you know how to mix, you know that, Incubi Darkness is just teal plus a little bit of black.
So good.
You can make a good enough little patch. So this is kind of like the basic level of what you can do with your hobby skills. But if you just do little touch-ups around the house, you can mix up a color that's close enough to just dab that on and call it good.
Now, I don't know if the podcast camera on my end can see this. There is a spot right behind my head on my wall where I did try and color match this dark gray. It didn't quite work out. So I'm just throwing that out there. A little trial and error sometimes, but I got pretty close on the first try.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. On a car, I think it'd be less noticeable.
I have a memory from back in middle school where my parents were like hanging some new drapes or something, and they lost the big decorative screw from the curtain rod. And
okay.
Yeah, it was like this weird off bronze color. And they lost that screw, and then they're just like, I don't know, we got this steel thing that we can put in there instead, but it looks completely wrong. Like, Brent, you do something with this? Like,
yeah, right.
Come over here. I'm going to mix these testers' paints together, and we're going to get this squared away. We're going to slap that on there.
Right.
Nobody's going to look too close. It'll get the idea across. We'll make this work. And, there's times when it comes in handy.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. I know having access to, like, small hand drills or a Dremel, just because I have them for mini stuff, that's come up a few times. Like, my wife wanted to make these little penny pendants, I won't say, but for a thing that we were doing, and ended up like I used the Dremel to drill holes through the pennies and make these like kind of bracelety things, and then I used nihilic oxide GW paint to get that nice look in there, and we stamped a name in the pennies, so that kind of filled it in. It was definitely like, the project came across. She's like, oh my God, I want to do all this stuff. I'm like, oh, I know how to do all that stuff. So yeah, art projects in general, like I got that. So also, if you have children, that's going to come in handy because there is no shortage of dumb art projects that your child's school will give you. So yeah, that's a big one.
Normally that's in the form of homework that your children are supposed to do. Is that correct, Casey?
I mean, look, okay, in like 3rd grade, when your child comes home, not that I've had this experience, okay, but I've seen this. They're like, I need you to build a diorama in a shoebox. Mm-hmm. And it's like, are you going to let your kid seriously go to school and not be using like Geek Gaming Scenics in that diorama? No, you're not. As a responsible hobbying parent, it's going to look the best.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's a really good point.
I can't wait for that day. Honestly, I'm still waiting.
You're going to give your child Luke's phone number, and you're going to call him
actually,
up.
I would, too.
Yeah.
I'd make them talk to Luke and be like, Mr. Luke, can I have some blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's right. You're going to learn how to communicate? Like,
how do, yeah.
Yep. Like, what are you talking about, kid? It's not a bad idea. I'm going to keep that in the back of my head, though. Like, that's going to happen. I'm going to do that. I know. But those skills definitely transfer. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Now I'll tell you, I had a coworker once who went to the beach with his wife. He took his wife to the beach, and they had a lovely time. And while they were there, he picked up this awesome seashell. It was this white clamshell, and he comes into me one day to my desk and says, I need a present for my wife's birthday. I have nothing. We went to the beach together and we got this. Do you know how to draw a sailboat? Can you draw a sailboat on this? I was like, I got you. So I got my tiny paintbrushes. I got a picture of a sailboat. I just did like a shoddy copy of that onto this white seashell. I epoxied some magnets onto the back of the seashell. Boom. Fridge magnet. Tree had this awesome, well, kind of shoddy, but his wife liked it anyway. Magnet as a gift for his wife.
Come on. Yeah. So wait, this guy that you know was like, Brent, I'm not capable of doing any of these things for myself because I do not Warhammer or hobby.
Right. Yeah. And I'm like, man, I bought a lot of magnets that are actually way too big for magnetizing my bases.
Right. You end up with those randomly
for the seashell. Mm-hmm. And I've got some milliput here. We're going to mix up this milliput. We're going to get a nice flush surface to attach these magnets to. We're going to go on the other side of the seashell. We're going to paint on this little sailboat. And boom, there you go.
That does remind me of a project that I did not too long ago. I installed these oil pan trays on my fence. They're large metal trays, right? And magnets stick to them, so you do them outside. Found a bunch of like river rocks. We painted all the river rocks, put letters on, the whole alphabet, that kind of thing. Then a bunch of ones with pictures and, eyeballs and all sorts of fun things. We painted on these rocks. Then, glued magnets on and then clear coated everything so they'd stay in the weather, and they're still going strong.
Ooh.
Yeah. That was a good one.
I like that. Yeah.
I've also fixed a lot of toys. Like, this piece on such and such broke. So I'm like, all right, well, let me just like fabricate a little green stuff here. We'll make that, even it out, and then it fixes the toy. Brand new.
Yeah. I mean, we have repair skills that a lot of folks just never have the cause to develop. But here we are.
Never the cause. Exactly. Mm-hmm. But here we are. Like knickknacks and stuff, right? Like making little trinkets, jewelry work. Yeah. Knowing how to mix epoxy.
So is that hard? Do some people not know how to do that?
I have no idea, but we do.
Write in the comment section if you do not know how to mix epoxy. If you
I'm not insinuating that you
in this
don't.
comment section, if you wrote "I don't know," I'm going to assume you meant you were talking about you don't know how to mix epoxy. That's what I'm going to assume. Nothing to do with Drizzt from an hour ago.
No, don't know how to spell that. What else, man?
But no, for real, like a familiarity with a lot of goos and goops that are useful for various household activities that you might not know anything about. I mean, I had a friend recently like ask me what kind of glue he should be using to glue his shoes back together. Shoe glue. This was a situation where I didn't actually have a good answer. Yeah, I mean, there are glues specifically for gluing shoes back together.
I mean, like actually branded called shoe glue. I mean, just saying that's a given. Yeah. Just throwing that out there.
Right. And this was a situation where I was like, no, epoxy is not what you want. Super glue is not what you want. PVA. You should just get some shoe glue.
Yeah.
But the fact is, there are times when somebody's going to say, how do I glue this to this? And you are going to know the answer because it's going to be right there at your hobby desk ready to go.
Well, I think that's the bigger thing is that not only will I have an answer, but it will be here. I can give some to you, or I can help you with whatever that is. Getting a little more serious, I think social skills is kind of a big one. Playing miniatures, obviously it's kind of a solitary thing, but eventually you're going to want to talk to other people about it. You're going to want to share your work with other people. You're going to want to go to a local game store. You might even want to play games with other people. And I think having that common ground and knowing certain things about your hobby helps you be a more social person where you might not have been before.
Sure. You can have a D&D game where you don't talk to the other people at all out of character.
I think that's hilarious, honestly.
Which it is hilarious, but that might just lead into talking out of character one of these days. Maybe 3rd, 4th, 5th session. Be like, hey,
we'll see.
Is your real name really Billy? Yeah.
The secret is, much like the Hulk, right? I'm always out of character.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So they'll never know.
Now on the subject of social interactions, this is going to sound stupid, but I think that painting minis helps with fashion, personal fashion. If you can dress a mini, you can dress yourself. You know what? Now follow me here. Follow me here.
All right, I'll give it to you. All right. Explain it.
If you paint your minis shoes brown, what color belt do you give your mini?
Not black.
Not black. That's right.
Right.
You flip that belt inside out to the brown setting.
See, people don't even understand that there are two sides to a belt.
That's right. Right.
In fact, I would imagine. You know what? I don't even know if I have a straight up belt like that in my house. I have like normal other kinds of belts, but not one of those. Just throwing it out there.
Normally in the past when I buy belts, I try to get the dual purpose ones.
Well, interesting. Yeah. Okay. It might be the PhD talking, but yeah.
Always multitask. Because you got to be aware that if you're wearing black shoes, when do I ever wear black shoes? If you're wearing black shoes, you gotta have a black belt. That's how it works. That's fashion. And if you didn't know that before, eventually that would start to sink in when you're painting minis. But you're picking out your pants color, you're picking out your shirt color. Maybe you're gonna put a jacket on or like a stylish vest. You know what? If you got a little bit of color theory and you start to think about yourself not as a person going out into the world interacting with other humans and trying to make a good impression. Think of yourself 1 inch tall as a miniature version of yourself. Get your paint set out and then try to find the closest thing to Sotek green in your closet. And you know what I mean? Like try to.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Yeah. If you can paint a mini, you can dress yourself. If you can paint a mini that looks good, you can dress yourself kind of look good, at least in terms of color theory. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I see where you're going with that. I get the belt and the boots thing. That's a given. I like that.
Yeah. And if your character is wearing Crocs, your character doesn't need a belt. That's if your character is wearing rule. Crocs and sweatpants, your character doesn't need a belt. Yeah.
I disagree entirely. I've seen too many people wearing sweatpants and Crocs that absolutely need a belt. So please do anything.
You can pick whatever color of fanny pack you want to go along with the sweatpants.
If that's what it takes. If that's what it takes. If anything, if you're gonna wear sweatpants in public, please. That's just a public disclaimer. Just make sure your sweatpants have a drawstring. That's all. That'd be the hidden belt of the pant. Yeah. I don't know if I'm not going out in public in Crocs, so not an issue for me.
Okay. I'm just saying, if you're really having trouble dressing yourself, maybe just through osmosis, there might be some tiny hope to be gleaned from painting minis.
I do think that the color theory aspect of what I was talking about earlier does coincide with this. Like, yeah, like if you're going to go out to a store and you're going to like realistically buy yourself some pants and some shirts and some whatever, you probably have a little bit better idea of how those things go together. Like you're not going to be mixing like stripes with plaids, right? Like you're gonna be like, that clash is a bit too much because you wouldn't paint that on a model.
I'm actually semi-serious about this. Yes.
I know. I'm just taking it a little bit further to the actual serious level. Yeah, I'm trying to help.
Yeah, no, for real.
Yeah. Or you just you buy a bunch of Goobertown blue shirts and you just wear shirts and Crocs and you're fine.
Yeah, I just wear whatever I bought like 10 years ago. It's all still good.
Yeah, it's all still good. That's true. It's not good. Don't do that. You need to update your wardrobe regularly.
Yeah. So let's switch topics here.
Sure.
Okay. Now this is also gonna sound like a joke, but I'm serious about it. Okay.
This whole thing is sounding like a joke, but we're trying to be serious about it.
Okay, this whole thing sounds like a joke, but I mean, if you really think about it, you'd be like, yeah, these guys are right. Okay. I have written down here time dilation and emergency response skills.
I like this one a lot, actually, yes. This makes a lot of sense.
Okay, this is going to sound stupid, but...
It does sound stupid.
Okay. It's going to happen that you are going to drop bits. You're putting together a model, you're going to drop the model, or you're going to drop the sword arm, you're going to drop a shield, you're going to drop bits for this, probably the head. Probably the head is what you're going to drop.
Yeah, you're getting that mold line at the top. Oh, here it goes.
Yeah. And this is going to sound silly, but I am now very good at finding those bits because when that bit goes flying, I have been able to slow down time for the next half second. I can focus my senses and I freeze. Everything stops.
Yeah, everything has to stop.
My heartbeat slows down by like half of whatever it was before.
Like 1 beat per minute.
And my eyes and my ears focus in like lasers onto that bit as it flies, as it bounces, as it finds its resting place.
Yes.
I don't lose bits anymore. I'm telling you.
I mean, that's pretty nice considering. I know exactly what you mean. I have that sensation of like time slowing and you're just like, okay, I know what I need to be doing in this moment. The bit has gone. And like for me, if I don't hear a noise, because I have carpet, so that kind of sucks. But I see the general location where it goes, and it doesn't usually bounce very far after that. So I haven't lost a bit in quite a while, and that was like a trained thing, because it really does suck to like be working on something and straight up just it's gone. Or you clip something and you hear it ping off of a wall and you're like, oh no, and it's gone.
Yeah.
Like I've lost. Okay, like I bought a what is it? A Badger Sotar 2020 airbrush, right? It's like $100, get it in the mail, pull the thing apart to kind of like see how it's put together. I lose the nozzle.
Ooh, that's a small one.
Yeah, it's $20 too. Just straight up. So, you know, getting that kind of like sixth sense for your bits, important. Yeah.
Yeah. And seriously, this is something that has developed over time because, you know, back in the early days, something goes flying, immediately like close the eyes, like start swearing. There's that. The first thing that happens, or that used to happen, was an emotional response. Like,
yes.
Like frustration, like a complete lack of focus, frustration, little bit of anger. And you're like, now I need to like do the whole search for this bit.
Right. You got to get down on your hands and knees, start sweeping.
Well, but I am dead serious that I have trained myself. I have developed the skill that when a bit goes flying, no emotion, perfect calm, perfect focus. Time slows down. I track the progress of that bit across the room. If it hits my lap, I feel it. I feel it hit the lap and bounce. You know, it's And this ability to stay calm in a crisis, to know what you need to do to be there in the moment, that applies to everything. And you don't know when it's going to come up.
That's true.
But it's with you now. It's with you now. No frustration, no panic, no anger, just what's going on, what's important, what do I need to do?
You might be asking yourself, why is this actually important? Well, let me tell you. Not too long ago, the other day, in fact, I was making a sandwich. It was a good sandwich too. Mustard, it's honey mustard on it. It was like a one of those nice beer mustards, right? Where they make them. Sierra Nevada mustard. It was good. Anyways, for some reason or another, I was using a sharp steak knife to pull the mustard out of the jar. And I mean, I was going to cut the sandwich, so it was I didn't want to use a butter knife, right? But I dropped the knife and instantly went into that same mode of like, I need to make sure that my foot does not now get stabbed. Barefoot with a knife falling.
The exact example I was going to use. This is perfect. The exact example I was going to use. Yeah.
And yeah, like, you know, just follow the knife, look down. It's going to land. Okay. It's like an inch from my foot. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Everything worked out. I did not get stabbed. Enjoyed my delicious sandwich. So, you know, it's not okay. How do I we're only a little bit kidding, but it's definitely a thing that happens and it's weird, but it does actually make sense.
Yeah, I'm kidding less than you are. Like, seriously,
I think you're right.
Especially when I drop a knife. It's mostly when I drop a knife.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's an X-Acto knife. Yeah. But, again, time slows just a little bit. What's going on? What do I need to do? Move my foot just a little bit to the left. There we go. All right.
Yep. Did not drop an X-Acto through my foot. Yeah.
And when this skill comes in handy for you, you'll realize it, and you'll leave a comment in the comment section.
It might not be today.
No, you don't know when it'll be. That's the thing. This is why this is almost the best skill on the list. Because
you're probably right, actually. Yeah.
It'll pop up when you least expect it, but when you most need it, and that's how that works.
So I also.
Ooh, you had another one?
Well, sort of. I wrote down dexterity boost, you know, as like kind of an aside to that, like a little bit like your fingers, but then that kind of like reaction time, I guess. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
There's a bit of reaction time, but there's also just other stuff you need dexterity for. So I don't know, eating with chopsticks.
It's true. My chopstick game has gone up. Yeah.
What else do you need dexterity for? I don't know. There's stuff. I don't know what you use dexterity for.
Really. If you fixing your glasses. Those
Did
tiny screws.
Back? Oh, yeah.
What else were you going to say? I interrupted you so rudely.
Well, we were talking about knives, X-Acto knives.
Yeah.
This isn't really a skill, but, you know, there was a time when people had fancy letter openers.
Sure.
This was like a thing. Like you had your desk, and on your desk you had a letter opener. I think
my
people
parents
used
still
to
have
do
one.
this. Oh, sure.
Mm-hmm.
I've got X-Acto blades everywhere. Hobby knives everywhere. Yeah. When a package comes in the mail, just boom, find the nearest X-Acto blade. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
Yep.
Yeah. Boom.
That's true. I do use the X-Acto for basically everything.
I don't know if that's really a skill, but that's a useful tool to have around.
Knife skills seems useful. Composition? I'm not sure how much that translates, but composition and how you make bases, colors that go together, the way things look. I have found that really getting into the hobby has made me kind of appreciate certain things that I find out in nature. Like, especially when I'm on vacation, I go look for things. I'm looking for things in different places that I wouldn't normally look. If I go to a lighthouse, I'm kind of like noticing the effects of the salt water on, the railings or the paint or what's going on. I kind of keep a mental catalog and even sometimes take pictures of those types of effects so that if I ever want to recreate those on a model, I can. And it's given me an appreciation for things that I probably wouldn't have ever noticed before necessarily.
Yeah, exactly. Appreciating details in the world around you. That's valuable right there. Yeah.
I feel like it is.
I think so. I think those were the big ones.
I think so. I mean, we wrote a lot of weird stuff down. And I'm kind of surprised that we got through as many as we did.
Look, you let us know in the comments below what kind of crazy, silly hobby skills you've developed and then somehow applied to your actual life.
Yeah.
We did what we could with this list, but I'm sure you've come up with some equally silly and
here's a little bit of
things.
That's probably true. But a little bit of a practical note for me. Starting a YouTube channel, like I was using my phone to shoot video, right? Everything was done my phone. All the editing was done in my phone. I got a camera. And I actually got a camera for free, basically in trade to shoot a video for one of my wife's clients of an event that they were having. And she was basically like, at the end of the thing, she's like, "Oh, well, you use my camera, that's fine. It's DSLR, few different lenses and stuff." But knowing just a little bit about video and doing some of that stuff and doing a YouTube channel, like, really spawned a side job, I guess, if you want to call it, or a real job of doing videography, like, for a good amount of money and knowing how to use camera equipment and getting really into that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's like little things that you're doing in your hobby can translate into an actual real job,
True.
Like, you can become a mural painter. You started doing minis and, you're starting freehand, you're learning that stuff. It can expand into so many different things. So Don't take the hobby for granted, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of a side topic to that, but if you have figured out how to take a decent picture of your mini on your cell phone for, Instagram or whatever, that's actually a pretty useful skill for all kinds of other photography.
Right.
Even if it's just photography on your cell phone, even if it's just for social media or your family or whatever.
Getting good at social media. If you have an Instagram and you're a painter and you're getting all sorts of stuff, all of a sudden maybe you're doing commissions, you're making money, and like, who knows, right? Who knows what can happen?
Well, so, I mean, the whole reason we do this podcast is because we think this is a great hobby, and even if all you're getting out of it is some relaxation at the end of the day at your hobby desk, that's worthwhile. But I really do think there's some stuff that you learn there at the hobby desk that transfers over reasonably nicely to other things. So that's all we wanted to talk about today.
Yeah. Well, that's nice. Got anything else for us, Brent?
No, on that note.
Yeah, well, on that note, thank you again for joining us on another episode of Paint Bravely. If you enjoyed this podcast, please help us out by leaving us a review on iTunes, subscribing to the YouTube channel, and sharing this message with your hobby friends. And as always, we appreciate each and every one of you for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
Talk to you next time.